Evening shows are always the most fun. I don't know. It seems that people are settling in, getting ready for the week, and it's a significant one for the 49ers. OTAs begin tomorrow. I'll be out there on Tuesday, so we have a few weeks of this where we're going to get to see the 49ers on the practice field. Not the guy that we've been talking a lot about a lot today, Brock Purdy, though. He was at a fundraiser event today. That was cool. I'll play that video in a little bit. San Jose Police Department versus the 49ers kickball game down in the South Bay. I, meanwhile, was up in the city, not the North Bay. The North Bay is Marin County, Sonoma, all that good stuff. But I was up in the city today, went to the Giants game. I know that I posted a video from there, and here's the video I posted from there. The only reason I'm putting this up on the screen is because I decided that I wanted to redo it. I decided that I didn't really emphasize just how impressive this one Brock Purdy stat was. And it counters a lot of this unwarranted criticism that we've been hearing. But Giants game looked really nice. I just wandered around the upper deck for a while just to get the view. I mean, look at this. This is one of the most iconic views in American sports. I mean, it might be the most beautiful for sure. You go up to section 304, because if you go up to 304, then what you have is the skyline. You get up high enough, you get the skyline, and then you could pan over with your own eyes. You see the Bay Bridge, and of course, all of the water. It was great. So that was my time at the Giants game. I had to put that in twice. And then if you fast forward a little bit further, which I'm doing right now, you're going to get the bacon wrapped hot dogs at the very end. Oh, and I also stopped by and got a burger from Red's Java House, which I probably can find at some point in the middle of this video. Let me see if I could get it for you. Red's Java House double cheeseburger was legit. Here it is. Just give me 1 second. Oh my God. I think it was at 49 seconds into the video. That is amazing. Here you go. This thing on the sourdough roll was sinfully good. And this is right by the ballpark. This is from the Piers 3032, where the Warriors nearly or were trying to originally build their arena. Wouldn't say that they got close to doing so. They ended up building a little bit further south in Mission Bay because it just would have been a total headache to try to reinforce that decaying pier. But I do remember that if the Warriors would have built what is now the Chase Center on these piers, that Red's Java House would have stayed. And this is why, because that burger, it's a little grease pit, but sometimes you need a grease pit, especially when you're on your way to a baseball game at a beautiful ballpark like this one, like Oracle Park. That view, you cannot beat it. Anyway, that was me today. Giants game. Talked about Brock Purdy a little bit earlier from the pier. Make sure you do check out that video. It's weird because there's so many people that take any praise for Brock Purdy as an assault on Trey Lance. Like, okay, you're attacking Trey Lance right now. And it's just not the case. The 49ers are looking at their quarterback position as one of strength in numbers at receiver, strength in numbers along the defensive line. Kyle Shanahan has even said those words before to describe the D-line, but it's really like obvious that the 49ers have now taken that mentality and applied it to the quarterback position. Because if you don't have a Hall of Famer, you've just got to keep on trying acquiring guys and seeing if you could finally hit the jackpot. And with Brock Purdy, obviously the sample is too small to call him a true franchise quarterback or, let alone the surefire QB1 for the 2023 season. But that doesn't take away from what he did last year. And it was really, really impressive. And there are some people out there that are now trying to say, oh, this was only a product of what Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers set up for him. You could toss anybody in there and the 49ers would have operated at league high efficiency. And that is just a completely idiotic take. And there are people who, have followings that are, trying to build followings right now. And it's wild to me. It's like, well, maybe that's why your following isn't growing as fast as it should be, because you're saying stuff like this when I guarantee you the majority of people, when I meet people out in person, we talk about the 49ers, the majority of people recognize that what Brock Purdy did last year was special. And to say that what he didn't do was special as a rookie, to lead the league in efficiency, to go out there and make history. I mean, no rookie in his first X amount of starts, and I think it was 8 for Brock Purdy, before he got hurt. I think that was start number 9 against the Philadelphia Eagles. No rookie has done that statistically. No rookie has operated an offense at the kind of clip that we've seen. So, of course, it was special. The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the NFC Championship game, because as soon as Brock Purdy got hurt, it all went to shit for the 49ers. Pardon my French. I don't know if there's a better way to put it, though. He was a key piece of the 49ers offense churning along. And you know who else is a key piece of the 49ers offense churning along? Kyle Shanahan. You know, it's possible to credit Kyle Shanahan at the same time that we credit Brock Purdy. And you can do both of those things and not criticize Trey Lance. You can also say, oh boy, Trey Lance may be able to give the 49ers some good football at the quarterback position too. These are not mutually exclusive truths. Lance can be developing along just fine now that he's finally healthy after 2 seasons worth of injuries, all while Purdy's recovering, and the 49ers can be really excited about him. And they can also simultaneously be excited about Sam Darnold. This whole tribalistic crap has got to stop. It's getting compulsive, I feel. Right? You'll say something good about Brock Purdy. All of a sudden, everybody who likes Trey Lance, not everybody, but all the loudmouths who like Trey Lance, just start screaming at the top of their lungs. And it's like, oh, gosh, you've hit the hornet's nest. Or, I mean, it goes the other way, too. I think there's a lot of people that are like, never Trey Lance. Can't stand him. Why? What has he done to you? I mean, all Trey Lance has done is put his head down and worked hard. Unfortunately, the same problem that befell Jimmy Garoppolo has so far befallen Trey Lance. He hasn't been able to stay consistently healthy. In fact, his percentage of availability is even lower than Jimmy Garoppolo's was with the 49ers. So it's about insulating the room with options, because all of these guys, and we haven't even gotten to Sam Darnold, but all of these guys have potential to do something special for the 49ers. Kyle Shanahan believes it. John Lynch believes it. That doesn't mean that the probability is 80 or 90%. It might be 50 or 60% for Purdy, maybe even higher. It might be 40% for Lance, might be 20% for Darnold. I don't know. Those are just numbers that I'm tossing out there for argument's sake. But the 49ers believe if you combine those probabilities, you are more likely than not to hit the bullseye at the quarterback position. And that's what this roster needs. Anyway, so a lot of the, talk about Brock Purdy today had been, there was this whole Twitter thing back and forth between a bunch of people. And it just reminded me so much of the Jimmy Garoppolo discourse. There were accusations being thrown Brock Purdy's way. Oh, this is just a dink and dunk quarterback. He's just throwing easy short passes to move his team downfield, which, I mean, it's just so simplistic. His air yards per attempt were just about the same as Tom Brady's. Not that much different than Jimmy Garoppolo's, but I know that Jimmy Garoppolo got the same criticism. Joe Burrow's were the same, right? I mean, I put out the stat showing that the air yards per attempt metric is not really one that goes out and measures quarterback quality. It's more of a quarterback style stat. And when Patrick Mahomes is also bottom half the league in air yards per attempt, maybe you should think, okay, this is just how offenses are calling plays these days. We have a proliferation of edge rushers, ultra athletic edge rushers who are outfoxing offensive linemen. So pass rush has never been faster and probably never relatively stronger than it is now. So quarterbacks need to get rid of the ball in a hurry. Plus, you have downsizing defenses, right? Linebacker, you got 215-pound linebackers now, sometimes even 210-pound linebackers. Well, that means you want to give weapons the ball and space to force these guys to tackle. Tackling, in some ways, is becoming a little bit of a lost art. So this whole focus on yards after the catch comes as no accident in the league. Well, if you want to set up yards after the catch, if you want to avoid the pass rush, you're going to want your QB to get rid of the ball quickly. And that's why Patrick Mahomes' air yards per attempt have gone down over the years. That's why the 49ers under Kyle Shanahan have always emphasized the short, quick passing game. And that's why it is idiotic to criticize Jimmy Garoppolo for short passes and to criticize Brock Purdy for short passes, because those are part of Kyle Shanahan's plan. The play caller wants them to do that. The play caller wants them to play point guard, to spread the ball out to the 49ers weapons. And if they're doing a good job, they'll be efficient. And if they're efficient, Well, that's going to be really correlated with wins, and that's what we've seen with both Brock Purdy and Jimmy Garoppolo. You guys have already seen this stat table. Let's get this instead of Oracle Park up on the screen. You see there at the top, look at adjusted net yards per attempt, DVOA, EPA per game. Blue is good, red is bad. Look how good both Purdy and Garoppolo were last year. I mean, that was a luxury for the 49ers. Lance, I'm not ruling him out just because the numbers are ugly last year. He obviously played in a monsoon and then he got hurt early on, so the sample was tiny. But we should probably just be looking at the positives here, because focusing on the negatives of Lance is just not fair to Trey Lance. The positives are that both Purdy and Garoppolo absolutely lit it up within the context of this system. Christian McCaffrey deserves a shout out there. The spacing that he created out on the field for the 49ers. It's not easy to play quarterback in any circumstance, but the 49ers are trying to facilitate this as much as possible for their guys, because they realize that this is a two-way street. Credit should go to both Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy, and hell, and Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel and Jawan Jennings and George Kittle and the offensive line. I mean, this is a team sport for a reason. I just don't think that truth really vibes well with social media, where people just want to focus credit on only one person or focus blame on only one person. It never is quite that simple. But take a look at this. Take a look at this stat. Brock Purdy's intermediate precision. Remarkable on a number of levels. Pro Football Focus came through with this. Shout out to Jeff Deeney. Best completion percentages on record. So this goes back to like 2005 or 2006 for intermediate passes. So passes that travel 10 to 19 yards in the air downfield beyond the line of scrimmage, and a minimum of 20% of qualifying attempts. Look at this. Brock Purdy, number one on record. He completed 80.4% of his intermediate passes last year. Next best number on record over the past 15 or so years, Kirk Cousins in 2019 with the Vikings, 72.9%. Number three, Joe Burrow, the Bengals, 2021, 71.9%. So, there's other stuff here. There's other context that I dug through and I found to be super interesting. And I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. You could have this on the side of the screen and look at that stat as I go through some of this other context. I just wanted to know, what other quarterbacks are really accurate in the intermediate game, and and really efficient, because Brock Purdy was over 13 yards per attempt in the intermediate game. But you look at that, over 80%, when nobody else on record has been above 73%. I mean, something really special happened with Brock Purdy last year that he definitely deserves some credit for. But Shanahan also deserves a ton of credit, because his other quarterbacks, like Jimmy Garoppolo, who finished number 2 in this stat in 2021 behind Joe Burrow. Sage Rosenfels, 2006, was at the top of the league in yards per attempt. He played for the Texans, and that was, 2008. Kyle Shanahan was with the Houston Texans then. But Rosenfels, career backup, right? But Shanahan coached him. He was the OC, and boom, intermediate passes, really, really efficient. Matt Ryan, 2016, number 2 in the league in intermediate pass efficiency. So you're starting to see a common thread here. Even with Kirk Cousins, you see there up on the screen, Cousins may not have played for Shanahan in 2019, but in a way, he's a Shanahan disciple. And it's really, really clear to me that Kyle Shanahan's offenses really prepare quarterbacks to dissect that middle of the field with the eye control, with the route running, with just the entire philosophy, and then the emphasis on threading the needle with some of these passes. We know that Jimmy Garoppolo was really good at it with the 49ers, but Purdy seemed to take it to another level last year with that 80% completion rate on such throws. So that's why I'm saying that, Purdy's got intermediate precision, but credit's got to go both ways. It's got to go to Shanahan and it's got to go to Purdy, because Shanahan has a whole stable of quarterbacks who have succeeded in the intermediate game. So the track record is there, but Purdy has just taken that completion percentage to the next level. Here's a stat that might blow your mind. So I said that Brock Purdy, has the highest completion percentage on intermediate passes for a single season on record since PFF started tracking this, right, in the mid-2000s. Guess who has the highest yards per attempt on intermediate passes since PFF started tracking this in a single season? That would be none other than Nick Mullins for the 49ers in 2018. When he came out, I mean, he came out on fire in that 2018 season. 34-3 win over the Raiders, and obviously Mullins put up some numbers over the course of the rest of that regular season. But Mullins averaged 15 yards per attempt on intermediate throws over about 54 attempts in that 2018 season. So it just underscores this. It underscores that Shanahan probably deserves a lot of credit. But then you look at what Brock Purdy did with this completion percentage over 80%, and you realize, oh, he deserves a lot of credit too. This is a good partnership. Just like Joe Montana and Bill Walsh were a good partnership, Steve Young and Mike Shanahan were a good partnership. It's obvious that Shanahan likes what Brock Purdy brings to the table, and it's obvious that Brock Purdy, pick number 262, flourishing as a rookie at the NFL level, likes what Kyle Shanahan is bringing to the table. We'll see if that partnership is able to continue to blossom. We'll see how Trey Lance's partnership with Kyle Shanahan is. We'll see how Sam Darnold's is. It's possible the 49ers have 3 good partnerships here moving forward. The more the merrier, right? Because you give yourself a better chance at succeeding in the quarterback room. All right. So those are my points. I wanted to go through those. I see the comment section is blowing up. We're going to open this up to 49ers Q&A. I'll find that Brock Purdy video from today here in a second. We'll play that. So go ahead and get some 49ers questions up on the screen, ready to go. Oh, I stopped at one more cool spot today. This is the Restoration Hardware in the Dog Patch. So you can see downtown San Francisco there in the distance. I mean, crazy expensive, nice furniture store, right? But they also have a rooftop that you could just chill on with this view of the city, the view of the Bay Bridge, view of the water. Really, really, really cool stuff. I checked it out after the game today. I was just biking around the city. It was a lot of fun. All right, I want to find a Brock Purdy video for you today from the charity event that the 49ers were at. And I got it. Who's ready for this? Brock Purdy, charity kickball event, 49ers against the San Jose Police Department.
Brock Purdy.
The 49ers football team and this whole event, I just want to say thank you guys for coming out and showing out for the Niner faithful. We love you guys, and this season, all for you guys. You guys know that. And again, thank you for this amazing event. Thank you, San Jose Police Department, for all that y'all do for us. We appreciate you guys. Yep. And so thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bang, bang, Niner.
I think he said bang, bang, Niner getting there at the end, but it did cut off. Notice that Brock Purdy was holding the microphone with his right arm. It was bent. I mean, he was doing all the normal functions there with the right arm. He's already been violently mimicking throwing motions, right, with the arm. Kyle Shanahan even used the word violent, but with a towel instead of a football. And he's expected to start throwing in less than 2 weeks. So that's when we're going to have our next Brock Purdy update as far as return to play. All right, now it's time for 49ers Q&A. Wanted to play that video for you. And let's get through this. Is Brock Purdy the best quarterback in the NFC West? Last year, he was the most efficient QB in the NFC West. Geno Smith fell off of his trajectory toward the end of the season. Kyler Murray is dealing with the ACL. He hasn't been efficient at all. Kyler Murray still has a whole heck of a lot to prove. And obviously, you got Matthew Stafford, who's the most accomplished quarterback in the NFC West. I mean, everybody's kind of in a different spot in their careers, and both Purdy and Kyler Murray are coming off of injuries. Why don't we let 2023 play out before coronating anybody the best QB in the NFC West? Because the most hardware does belong to Matthew Stafford. You got to give him that. He's got a lot of statistical hardware, let's put it that way, over the years with Detroit. And then he joined the Rams and he won the Super Bowl, and you have to tip your cap. The Rams did get it done in that 2021 season. So right now, I still would put Matthew Stafford at the top of the divisional pecking order. But Brock Purdy is going to have a chance when he comes back from this injury to prove that the order is changing. And last year, he made a strong opening statement for the 49ers. And yes, I see that people are in agreement. Of course, Jim Everett's in agreement. Jim Everett, I'm glad that you're here as we talk about Matthew Stafford being the best quarterback in the NFC West. Okay. Let's get some good questions in here. There's so many. There's like 500 questions. I'm having trouble seeing all of them here. I don't have my big monitor today. Has the beard poll come out? Somebody's asking about Margot and the beard poll. I didn't follow up on that yet. As you could tell, Margot's not here currently. So I'm going to see her in a couple days. We're going to have a surprise location here later this week. Tuesday's not a surprise. Tuesday's going to be on the field at Santa Clara, but then there are a few days without 49ers media availability at OTAs. So we've got a cool little trip planned. Should be some good content to talk about, though, over the course of about a week in between open 49ers practices. Why are some people pushing an anti-Purdy agenda? What's the benefit? I have no idea. It defeats me. I mean, it's not very smart. It's not accurate of, if you're trying to cover the 49ers, then the goal should be to say, okay, what's Kyle Shanahan thinking here? How are we going to analyze it? What's John Lynch thinking here? How are we going to analyze it? To go out and try to minimize Brock Purdy's positive impact last year, just flies in the face of all data, all common sense, right? It causes you to lose credibility, but it also makes you further away from the truth of correctly analyzing the team. Brock Purdy was a huge part of the 49ers' success in 2022, and he's a massive part of their plans moving forward. Now, obviously, he's coming off of the injury, so we don't know how this is going to play out in 2023, and they've fortified their options in the quarterback room. There's a lot to be excited about, the new delivery from Trey Lance, and obviously the newfound health from Trey Lance, and let's hope that it stays that way. Nobody wants to see players get hurt, especially as much as Lance has over the past 2 seasons. So the 49ers obviously have a lot of different ways that this quarterback situation can go, but to minimize what Brock Purdy did, to me, is just really, really weird. There's like weird jealousy thing going on. We saw the same dynamic with Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, why would you want to minimize what Jimmy Garoppolo did? I mean, there's not an argument to be had here amongst people who know the game, amongst people who, are respected as far as their opinion goes. Jimmy Garoppolo is a good quarterback. That's indisputable. Brock Purdy played damn well last year. We could say that he's a good quarterback too. I think that's fair. Some people will say, I want the sample to be a little bit bigger. Fair enough, but he played really well. And to minimize how well that he played and how important he was to the 49ers run, it's like saying that 1 + 1 = 3. You can't do it and stay credible. So I don't get it. Your question is a good one because it defeats me. It really beats me. So we'll see if that narrative continues. But to me, the 49ers are in a position right now where if Purdy can come back and not skip a beat, and I know that's probably easier said than done coming off the elbow injury, but if he can come back and not skip a beat, well, the 49ers feel really good about their quarterback baseline. Then you move forward and you say, okay, what can Sam Darnold do? What can Trey Lance do? That gives you 2 more throws of the dart up against that wall when the Purdy one is still shrouded in some uncertainty. It's a numbers game, and that's how the 49ers are treating the quarterback room. Michael asks, why is a major argument against Brock that there is not tape against him when he had 4 years and 48 games at Iowa State? As a rookie, not much change. Well, there hasn't been NFL tape yet on Brock Purdy at that level, right? 48 games of tape at Iowa State. I get it. I was the first one, right, saying, hey, this experience for Brock Purdy, it puts him in the driver's seat as far as Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch looking at the future of the quarterback position, because they can say, here's a guy that not only has done it now over 8-9 games at the NFL level, but here's a guy that did it over 48 games at the college level. We have a sample size here that gives us confidence in a high floor, right? Trey Lance is more about the high ceiling. Now, how high is Brock Purdy's ceiling? That's the next question that needs to be answered, because Trey Lance, I would think offers a higher ceiling than Brock Purdy. That's why he's picked at number 3 and not number 262. But right now, Trey Lance's floor is obviously lower. So, you were talking about Brock Purdy's experience and all the tape on him from college. That definitely raises the floor to a level that the 49ers are more comfortable with. But I will add that until you get NFL coordinators, defensive coordinators, an entire offseason to look at somebody, don't count out the adjustments they can make. I mean, Brock Purdy is going to probably struggle at some point, even if he comes back fully healthy, because NFL DCs will scrutinize every little weakness and they're going to try to capitalize on it with some of the best athletes in the world on that defensive side of the ball. It will not be easy for Brock Purdy, but hey, even if defenses adjust against him, ball's in his court. He could counter adjust. And that's what you have to do to succeed in the National Football League. You talk about weaknesses, right? It's rolling to his left. When he's flushed out of the pocket early, rolling to his left, Purdy loses a lot of efficiency. And defensive coordinators started to figure that out down the stretch last year, especially in the playoffs. So the Cowboys do it a lot. Overload that pressure from the right side. Purdy's got to get better stepping up in the pocket. Hassan Reddick came off the right side. That's when Purdy got hurt. He's got to get better stepping up in that pocket. That's, I think, what defensive coordinators are going to try to capitalize on. No, not necessarily. A good quarterback is not necessarily different than a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. I mean, it's a team wins the Super Bowl, not just a quarterback. And the quarterback is a key part of the team, right? You can win a Super Bowl in a number of different ways. You could win it with an absolutely transcendent talent like Patrick Mahomes. Good luck getting him, though. The Chiefs aren't letting him go. There's only one Mahomes in this National Football League. Good luck getting any of the top 3-4 guys in the league. And by the way, if you put Joe Burrow on one of the top, I'm guessing you have Joe Burrow on your quarterback Mount Rushmore in the National Football League. If you don't, then I probably would disagree with you because I think he's one of the 4 best in the game. Well, Burrow hasn't won a Super Bowl yet. He lost to the Rams in a very similar fashion to how Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers lost to the Rams in 2021. The Rams were just a little bit better as a football team. So you have to have a good quarterback, right? Or at least a competent one if you're going to pair that with a Super Bowl caliber roster. And that's what the 49ers are aiming for right now. They want a very efficient quarterback that Helms plays point guard for the overarching roster that can win a Super Bowl. It's never going to be a one-man show. There's a reason why Aaron Rodgers hasn't won one in over a decade, right? So a good quarterback can be a Super Bowl winning quarterback if the pieces are in place around him to make that happen. And that's what the 49ers are striving to do with Brock Purdy. Hey, Matt Stafford won a Super Bowl with the Rams. Credit to them. They put the pieces around him. Does he win that Super Bowl without Aaron Donald? Of course he doesn't win that Super Bowl without Aaron Donald. So it is a team effort. This can even go back to Joe Montana. This can even go back to Steve Young. We can talk about Tom Brady needed the team around him. So enough of these arguments. Oh, Super Bowl caliber quarterback. There might only be one that can overcome a middling defense to win it all in the National Football League, and his name is Patrick Mahomes with the Kansas City Chiefs. 187 respects respects Brock Purdy, while Fernando respects Aaron Donald. Football is a team sport. A lot of people don't seem to be able to wrap their minds around that, but it is the ultimate team sport. That's why football players love the meritocracy aspect of it so much, because you're working to earn the respect and the trust of your teammates, because you're only going to go as far as your teammates take you. It seems that every single Hall of Fame induction speech talks about teammates. Teammates. And these guys aren't just saying it. It's not just lip service. It's because it's true. Quarterback can't deliver without his offensive lineman blocking for him. A quarterback can't rack up stats unless the receiver is catching the ball. A great offense can't win a championship unless the defense limits other offenses, at least to a certain degree, right? So it is an ultimate machine that you have to build in the National Football League as a team. And Brock Purdy is just one part of that. Trey Lance, just one part of that. Sam Darnold, just one part of that. The 49ers trying to find that winning formula. Okay, I'm scrolling up to some older comments right now. Gosh, we have so many of them. What is my here? One of these popped up. Thanks, Damon. What's my biggest mini camp takeaway? Rookie mini camp? Because veteran mini camp is happening next week. I've already done a lot of videos on rookie mini camp, so I guess you're asking about the rookie one, not the veteran one, which is mandatory. That's coming up in June. It's hard to take stuff away from rookie minicamp. Let me be honest. People are going to pretend like they have takeaways so they can get so they can get clicks. They're going to make grades. They're going to do all this stuff based on an incomplete data set. My main takeaway was that the 49ers rookies showed up, everybody signed their contract, and they got to work. That's all that I really know. They didn't have pads on. Ronnie Bell looks like he can make some nice catches in shorts. That's great. Joey Fisher, good big frame. We already knew that though. We already knew he has a big frame and he looks athletic. He ended up sitting out there toward the end. He might have tweaked something. Again, we don't know why, so I don't want to jump to these huge conclusions. A lot of the main participants were tryout players, including both of the quarterbacks, Clayton Thorson and Steven Montez. 49ers didn't sign either one of those guys because they're already happy with their quarterback room. So anyway, that's what I learned. If there was a player that popped off the screen to me, and the screen being, me watching through my iPhone as I'm filming some of this practice, it'd be Ronnie Bell, just because he made an athletic grab or two. It was kind of one of those seam catches where he made his presence felt with his body. It's not like it was physical or anything without pads, but some receivers cower away from making themselves big, and some receivers do make themselves big. And to me, it seems that Ronnie Bell might be in that latter category for the 49ers. Ted, understanding Trey has improved his throwing motion. I still need to see it in a regular season game and not at the detriment of the team. Yeah, I think Kyle Shanahan feels the same way. It's going to be a progression for Trey Lance, right? It's going to be, can he take what he has improved in the lab with Jeff Christensen and Patrick Mahomes, and can he now maintain those improvements in 11-on-11 activity at OTAs? If he can do that, can he maintain those improvements into training camp with pads on, 11-on-11 ball? If he can do that, can he maintain those improvements into preseason when there's going to be a live pass rush trying to hit him? If he can do that, can he maintain those mechanical improvements into the regular season when it's full speed, full go? Jeff Christensen said that even with, the top guys that he works with mechanically, that when he works with them in the offseason, they go to the regular season, and then they come back to him the next offseason. Jeff Christensen says that he's happy if guys have only lost 25% of the progress that they made mechanically with them the previous offseason. You always revert back to older habits, at least a little bit. So is Lance going to revert back a little bit? We have to expect that he will. But that's not the end of the world if he does. He's just has to keep as much of this mechanical progress in the forefront of his brain, in the forefront of his habits as possible. And if he does that, then the 49ers will be just fine. He'll be just fine moving forward because they know that he's smart. They know that he's athletic. The mechanics are what's going to lead to accuracy. And if that happens, you combine accuracy with the athletic ability, with the cerebral ability that I think Trey Lance has already impressed the 49ers with, well, that's why they drafted him at number 3. But it's obviously a lot easier said than done. All right, everybody, thank you. I know there's like 500 questions. It was very, very tough to read all of these. Man, there's so many. This is probably the busiest I've ever seen the comment section. Probably keeping Mike really busy, right? I'm going to text him right now after this. Time for me to go get some dinner. I'm hungry. Burrito time here in the Bay Area. Everybody, thank you for joining. We got a fun week ahead of us. OTAs, some good travel. Everybody like the video, sub to the channel. We'll talk to you all very soon.